Yo, what is up, my fellow Discordians? So we'll hop right into in the bag. First, we got putting putters. We got two of them, both zero medium orbit Pures, Chris and Tatar, pink and blue. Pink flips a little more, so I use it for like standstill long range putts. Blue I mostly use in the circle, but really I use them interchangeably, just whichever one feels right in the moment. Then we got a Boxy, the the Glow Eclipse Soft Proxy with that beautiful artwork there. Shout outs to the American Heart Association and Suicide Prevention. Thank you, Bo. This is a moneymaker. Goes straight. Use it for almost all my upshots, almost all my backhand upshots. Anything from like 150 up to like 250. If I need to go straight, I'll be throwing this. And for backhand drives, backhand putter drives, if the proxy is going to flip a little too much, this will flip and then fade back. So I can release this even a little bit of ante and it'll hold a long ways and then slowly fade and sit. And this disc sits really nice. Usually I hate beads. This micro bead is basically worn away though, and I'm a big fan of the Praxis. The Glitch, I only really bag it at my home course just because it's fun. We got several short holes and I can just have some fun with it, throw some crazy lines, cool stamp on there with the gnome in the forest, so I like that. Yeah, it's fun. I can also like putt with it up to like 150. Just, it's mostly for messing around. A5 is another great upshot disc. I use it backhand hyzer upshots as well as forehand, like seriously flat, and just let it glide straight, let it sit. A5 is a great disc. Zone does what zones do. There's a little flexy one, so it'll sit nice. Use this on a lot of scrambling upshots as well as anytime I need kind of like a longer ante forehand, I'll go with this. It usually sits right where it lands, and great upshot disc. Between the Zone and the A5, that's most of my forehand upshots. We've got the Soul Go to disc here. Got a few aces with it, signed by Paige. This one's got a bit of dome to it, so a little more than most Souls do. And yeah, this is the oldest disc in the bag currently for me. It was like the third one I ever bought out of a store. Yeah, great for turnovers. I can release it with just about as much hyzer as I want, and it'll flip up to flat. If I release it with slight hyzer, it'll flip all the way over during the flight, and if I'm absolutely nowhere off the fairway, I can do a back to the basket turnover, and this thing will glide for days. So yeah, it's a very slow flipper, but it keeps flipping, which is why it's in the bag still, despite me trying to replace it with a bunch of cooler, visually cooler runs of Soul. Next we got the Buzz. Shout out to Soitar for this one. It's a Crystal Flex Buzz. Yeah, this is my main mid. This is kind of my go-to mid recently. It's kind of a true negative 1-1 in terms of turn and fade, and it bombs. So this is kind of what I'm going with. Anytime I need to throw a straight mid shot, it flies pretty much the same as the Proxy, except goes probably 50 feet further. So if I have a ceiling and I need a straight shot, this is what I'm going with. I've also been using it a lot more recently on turnovers, where I'd usually throw the Soul, because I can release it on ante and it'll hold that ante for a really long time before it breaks out and fades. So yeah, I'm starting to see what you Anheuser players do with mid ranges. So yeah. Then I've got an ESP Buzz. This one is got a little more bite to it. This will fly exactly like that pink one in a headwind. Otherwise, if I've got like a wide open shot and I need to just hyzer a mid and rely on it to glide out, this is what I go with. Yeah, nice and stable Buzz. Yeah, great disc. Goes really far too. Then if I actually need a mid to fade, I'll go with this Reactor. It's a cosmic neutron, so it's a little more overstable than a stock neutron, but I beat it quite a bit. So yeah, it's got it pretty straight at the start of the flight, and then it'll fade pretty hard once it slows down. So if I can get it to the ground before it slows down, I can pull off some really nice flat to like on a downhill flat shot. I can get it to glide really nice all the way to the ground. Otherwise, if I throw it up at all, it does stall really well for me and then come back right where I want it to. So yeah, reactor is a great disc. I use this a lot on like par fours as the upshot disc when I still have like 300 feet left, all the way down to like 200-foot stall. If I just don't want to be short with the A5, I'll go with this. Next, the MD5. This is the Sea Line Sparkle Run, whatever they call it, Metal Flake. Yeah, this is a great skipper. I use it as my forehand mid for anything from like 250 to 300. Yeah, the MD5 is just very reliable. Have a skip ace with it, which was pretty sick. Yeah, cool run. Looks good, feels good, throws good. Now into the fairways, we've got the Star Hawkeye. This is a based 163 gram Hawkeye. Nice little bit of dome to it, very mellow underside wing under there. And yeah, this will turn and go. It is basically the same flight as my Soul at the start, and then at the end it'll kick into driver mode and just glide out. And I can get this to full flight out of this, and it goes just as far as well, that's not true because I only bag things that go further than the rest of the speed. So further than any other 7-speed I've thrown though. Next up, we got the Athena. This is the ESP, the 6 claw run, the Snow Athena. We got snowflakes on the stamp there, real pretty. This one is Flippy Athena, so this is going to fly, like it's going to start out kind of like that Hawkeye, where I'll throw it on slide hyzer. I never really throw this on anything but slide hyzer, and it'll flip up and then sit. This is great for tailwinds when I want a controlled driver shot, where I would usually throw the Saint or the or something with like a Wraith almost. If which I'll get to later. If I would usually throw a Wraith and I got a big old tailwind, I'll throw this because I know it's going to flip up and it won't just fade out early on me. Yeah, this fly is actually pretty similar to the Reactor late in flight. So that's kind of the pairing I see with it. Very useful in all sorts of wind. Because also in a headwind, it'll fly a lot like my Hawkeye, in that I can get it to flip up and over. Yeah, just another fun bomber. Snow Athena. Next we got the Jawbreaker Glow Z Athena, whatever it is. Shout out to Sparty for that one. Got the big Z stamp on there, which is really cool. Love that Athena there. This one is pretty new to the bag. It just kicked out my stable Athena. This one's pretty stable. I think it's going to beat in a little more, but for now it's very, very true 02 from the 7-speed. This is good for placement. I've been using it for that, where I don't want to bump up to a Firebird, but I want to release something flat and still have it fade. Next up we got the Roadrunner. Really pretty. I honestly bought this for the looks, and it turned out to be a good flyer too. But yeah, this is a woods monster. It'll eat up any flip overs that you need to get all the way down the fairway, up to about 350. Yeah, I love keeping this one low. It also is serviceable for rollers. I'm not great with rollers, but this one's helping me learn a little more, because it's a little more stable than my previous roller disc, the Nemesis. This one doesn't get me in quite as much trouble. Plus, look at that roll on the ground. Sweet. Then we got the infamous Gold Burst Saint. This one's pretty beat in, but it really hasn't changed in flight since I got it, which is amazing. I swapped it out for my one that had been beating in a little too much, and this one is money. So I'll release this. This is like a mini Grace. It's a Grace that goes even straighter. So it doesn't like headwinds, but in the calm or tailwind, this thing bombs. It stays low to the ground. When you release it, it'll flip up perfectly, and it'll glide. I can get about 380 out of this, just like stock. And then if I need to bump it up, I can, especially on like a downhill or something where I'm just going for it. This is another woods monster, the Roadrunner and the Saint. Just they're money in the woods, which is one of my favorite types of golf to play. Next up, we got the Firebirds. We got 3 Firebirds, starting off with the flippy one. It's a 2018. Connor says these are supposed to be stable, which maybe, but this one's been beat in so much that it's just a flip monster as well. This is my scramble forehand. I threw in from about 270 after going OB on a par 3 and saved par with it at the Des Moines Challenge A tier. Yeah, this is another one where it's like, if I get in the woods and I need to throw a forehand that's going to do something crazy, this is what I'm reaching for. It's also great on backhand in that I can throw it on a hyzer and it'll flip up, give me a little glide, but then it has that Firebird finish very late in the flight. This is a 21 Sexy Bird. This is going to be my general workhorse unless there's a headwind. So if I need a forehand for just about any shot between, 275 and like 350, this is what I'm throwing. Otherwise, on the backhand, if I'm facing a headwind, this is what I'll bump up to. Instead of maybe that the straighter Athena, I'll go with this. Instead of the overstable Athena, I'll go with this. Yeah, backhand, it flies a little differently, but it's still beating in after all this time. I've had it in the bag over a year and a half. And yeah, still beating in, still getting to that money zone. Love a good Sexton Firebird. This is the 2023 run of Firebird, Halo, Beefcake, fairly flat up top, good wing to it. This thing bites, but still glides. So that's kind of a theme of my bag, is everything glides. So yeah, this is going to be my most overstable, throwing it on flex lines. I don't really throw it backhand that much, but if I do, I'm trying to really work something over. Otherwise, it'll fight out of just about any type of reasonable flex I put it on the forehand and hold up in headwinds. Next up into the distance drivers, we've got, you guessed it, the Grace. The 2021 Tatar Tour Series Grace. This thing's money, goes far, flips up naturally, lots of fade at the end after it slows down. This one goes just about as far as my Destroyers, especially in a tailwind. Yeah, it can get me into trouble sometime, but you got to respect the OG, the Grace. I mean, this is the disc that made me fall in love with throwing drivers. I used to always throw just mids on everything, or forehand drivers, and then it wasn't this disc specifically, RIP Bethel Pond, but yeah, the 21 Tour Series Grace, it feels right at home in the hands. So then we got a Wraith. This one, I started out as my stable Wraith, and now it's been beating in. This is like a luster-y, but it's kind of new luster, so it's kind of gummy. I really like the feel of it, especially in the heat, where it just kind of sticks to my hand. Yeah, this is going to be my straight. This will act like a Grace in a headwind, or otherwise just a straight control. Definitely doesn't go as far as my Destroyers unless I really push it, but it is really fun just to throw. Yeah, a little more mellow than some of my other driver options, but it won't flip over like the Grace will if I really hammer on it. Here's my stable Wraith. Shout out to Soitar again on that. This is that 22 run of Nathan Queen Wraith in the Star Glow. And this one's a Beefcake, but a super glidey Beefcake. And I finally found the one to replace the one that I threw into a pond just about a year ago. And I'm loving it. So I'm hoping it stays in its current condition. I can get this one out to probably about 390 to 410 on an absolute rip, and it'll hold up to headwinds. Yeah, I love throwing it flat into a headwind, down a hill, and just letting it do its thing. Yeah, Wraith's a great disc. Next up, we got the Max Distance Destroyer. So this is last year's Emily Beach Metal Flake Glow, and it is seasoned to almost perfection, probably perfection. Pop top to it, really mellow wing on the bottom, and yeah, this thing goes. This is my furthest flying disc, probably get out to 420, 425 on a great pull. Otherwise, yeah, thrown at max speed, it flies a lot like the Grace, but with the 12 speed, that extra distance, and thrown soft, it's a great control if I'm not feeling the Wraith. Also, if I do if I want to do like a huge flip up and distance line forehand, I'll go with this, but honestly, I don't do that a whole lot. but when I do, I can get probably like 415-ish out of that. But yeah, I don't always know where it's going. Yeah, bomber, lots of glide, love that. Love the hand feel as well. Then we move up to the distance distance destroyer. This is my controlled distance destroyer. Probably put it out to about 400 on the dot every time with it. I can push it further, and if I need to, I'll use this pink one. This is a 2021 Calvin Heimberg. Yeah, still got that pop top, still got that aggressive wing on the bottom, and I can hammer this on whatever line I want on backhand, and it's going to do its thing. It's going to work out of it. Forehand, I have to keep this one on hyzer, but yeah, this is what I do when I need to pull something out and go for it. Is I'm using this pink one, just because this white Emily Beach one does go further. This is the one I can trust to do its thing, do its destroyer, have the destroyer fade and finish. And then this is my overstable destroyer right now. I use it primarily for forehands or only backhand really in the headwind. But yeah, big pop top on that. It's a Halo F2. It's 170 gram. But for some reason that makes it even more overstable than the Calvin runs that I have. And yeah, I love this thing. It's going to fight all sorts of headwinds and fight out of flexes for me. If I were to throw it like the same shot as this destroyer, this would probably go like 20 feet shorter. But yeah, when I start to work a flex on it, it can get some pretty fun things to happen. So yeah, that's the most overstable thing I bag. Sometimes I do bag bonus. Let me go grab. I've got a few other overstable options that I'll bag like only on golf courses and stuff. Let me go grab those. Yeah, really, I'm just talking about this one, the Limit. I've got some other destroyers as well, but I'll usually stick to the Halo. But this Limit is like the 14 speed, super overstable, very flat on the top, and yeah, this is if I need to skip. I'll bag this. Like I said, I don't really bag it on woods courses, but if I know I'm going to play a ball golf course where there's tons of greens to skip off and stuff like that, I'll bring this. But yeah, that's my in the bag. We've got the Grip ledge tone from last year. Got a chalk bag, which I think is actually in the car that I bag, a super puffy one. And always have a couple koozies. Oh, here's the chalk bag. We are indoors right now, but you can even see some of the smoke coming off of that. Yeah, I love that for drying my hands out because I have very wet fingers. I'll let you think about that one. And then, yeah, I always bring a couple koozies in case we need to enjoy some beverages on the course. I always bring my little thing of sunscreen because I'm a white boy. It's a white boy summer. I always got there's a Slim Jim in there that I got for free. But I always bring a pen as well. You never know when you're going to ace. And got a mini on board, Prodigy Mini. This is the most overstable mini I've ever seen. I can actually throw this on flex lines. It's pretty sweet. Yeah. Also got the water bottle here with lots of different stickers. We got Titan, we got Dutchman, we got the magazine my sister works for, Silas Schultz. That's fun. Then here, let me get you a little close up of the bag. So yeah, there's the Ledgestone bag. There's my in the bag, boys. Peace.